Welcome to the Crisscross Corner podcast. Welcome back to the Crisscross Corner podcast. I'm your host, Chris Canty. Before we begin, shout out to all the members of the Crisscross Corner podcast Facebook group. If you don't want to miss another episode, click the subscribe button and the notification bell on YouTube to be notified of our next videos on YouTube. If you want to listen to another episode other than this one, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Breaker, Overcast, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find it. Just type in Crisscross Corner Podcast. Support the podcast with a monthly commitment of $4.99 a month to help sustain future episodes on Anchor. Your support gives you the power to give suggestions for topics, including the top 10 list at the end of each episode. Go to anchor.fm/crisscrosscorner/support to give your donation. Thank you for your donation. Shout out to all the listeners of the podcast, including USA, Canada, Ghana, Germany, Norway, UK, Ireland, Singapore, Denmark, Japan, Netherlands, India, South Africa, Mexico, South Africa, and now Israel. On today's episode, I am going to be celebrating Black Music Month. Yes, June is known as Black Music Month. So to celebrate Black Music Month, I would like to give you my top 100 Black artists of all time. I'm not going to list them off, one by one. I'm just going to name them off and have my top 10 at the end of the episode. So without further ado, I'm going to start my list. It's a long list, so let's start with number 100, which is Kirk Franklin. Then we have Derek May, Charlie Pride, the Mills Brothers, Salt and Pepper, Ruth Brown, TLC, DeFord Bailey, Roxy Brown, Roy Brown, the famous Ward Singers, Jimmy Reed, Max Roach, Charlie Christian, Eric B. and Rakim, the Dixie Hummingbirds, Jimmy Cliff, Wanoni Harris, Lena Horne, the notorious B.I.G., Odetta, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Art Blakely, Earth, Wind and Fire, Charlie Patton, Donna Summer, Ornette Coleman, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the Soul Stirrers, Elmore James, Big Joe Turner, NWA, Etta James, Janet Jackson, Nina Simone, Kanye West, Jill Scott Heron, Sarah Vaughan, Whitney Houston, the Ink Spots, Charlie Wilson, the Jackson 5, the Temptations, Howlin' Wolf. We also have other artists like Tina Turner, Fats Domino, T-Bone Walker, Parliament, Funkadelic, Count Basie, Jay-Z, Bo Diddley, Curtis Mayfield, Beyonce, Otis Redding, Al Green, Dizzy Gillespie, Thelonious Monk, The Supremes, Charlie Parker, The Sly and the Family Stone, Nat King Cole, Robert Johnson, Scott Joplin, Prince, The Miracles, Muddy Waters, Tupac, Run DMC, B.B. King, Fantasia, Public Enemy, Sam Cooke, Little Richard, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, Ella Fitzgerald, Bruno Mars, Billie Holiday, John Coltrane, Bob Marley, Chuck Berry, as well as many others. Now my top 10 list of the week of Black artists. We have Miles Davis at number 10. We have Ray Charles at number 9. We have James Brown at number 8. Duke Ellington, number 7. Beyonce, number 6. We have Jimi Hendrix, number 5. Louis Armstrong, number 4. Michael Jackson, number 3. Stevie Wonder, number 1. Number 2, actually. Number 1, you already know my number 1. The Temptations. It's going to be the Temptations. It has to be the Temptations. Well, that's been another episode of the Kris Corner. Please subscribe on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please stay safe, social distance, and be nice to each other.